Hi everyone, it's Jenny with Joey and Jenny's Little Yellow House, and you can find us on YouTube at Joey143Jenny. So I'm here today because I wanted to do a CATHE Holden project. I had purchased, well, look at these beautiful papers first. Let's do that, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. I've shown these before, but they're just so gorgeous. And as you know, I do hoard my CATHE Holden stuff. You can see here, I'll just take a snippet here and a snippet there and leave every piece of scrap. But I'm determined to make things with it and to use more. And as you know, I'm planning, getting it in my head, working on gathering some things to begin a CATHE Holden journal for fabric and paper and such. Yep. And then they're all my favorite, but this one, something about the rich floral just speaks to me. I just love it so much. And I've paper clipped it because I have a lot of scraps that I'm saving in here. That is what I do. Every little scrap, I just feel like it doesn't matter how small it is, I'm going to use it. Anyways, they're absolutely beautiful. You can get this at Spellbinders if you don't already have it. Or if you need more, which is probably what I should do, is just get one to save. I know. And then one to use. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do, is use that. I'm going to set it aside here. So what I did was I went to our dollar store. It's not really called a dollar store, and actually it's not even, things aren't even $1 anymore. I think they're like $1.25 or something like that. It's really more like stuff under $5 nowadays. But they had these little things, I think they were $1.25. They're little stackable trays, and all I did, you can tell it's not super neat, but I looked in my paint and I had this Americana with the raw umber color. I have no idea how old that is. It's deco art. I have no idea how old that is, but it came out nicely, so maybe they still have that. But I wanted to do kind of a dark color because I had started cutting the paper for one and was having a hard time sizing it up, and you know me with measuring things. So, and I'll show you what I did to even do with the one that I'm going to do today. But, yeah, so I thought, well, just kind of like when you do the vintage photo and you use the inking on the edge of things to help hide some of the imperfections, I thought doing it around all of the seams would help hide imperfections of the cutting that I did. So what I've done is I've cut a piece for the bottom. I've cut from a different print. I've cut for the inside sides like that. And then I've cut for the outside, you know, for these on the outside. So be like that. So yeah, so then what I thought I would do is go ahead and get those on and then show you, well, maybe what I'll do is show you how I did the other, in case I run out of time and I don't want to use the matte. I'm going to use this matte gel. I've never used this to actually glue before. Let's see, is this the one I want to use? Let's see if it's clear or if it's white. Yeah, I think this will work just fine. But anyways, I'm going to use it. I've never used it to glue before, but I want to see how it works out. So yeah, okay, so here's how I measure. I put that in. I put it in nice and tight to one side, and I just run my fingernail, or you know, you can use your bone folder. First, I would try to crease it so you don't rip it where you don't want it. Kind of crease it like that. Crease it like that. And then that's going to leave me, you know, a cutting space. Yeah, so there's how I measure. And then let's just cut this out. Again, if I cut it a little too slim or it's not exactly straight, having that paint will help it to be forgiving. And you don't have to use dark. I mean, you could use a beautiful green. A sea green would be pretty with that. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So normally a piece like that I would throw away, but how can you throw something that beautiful away? Can't. You just can't do it. But I am going to just go ahead, and I'm not going to be a freak, so I will throw the tail away, but I'm going to keep that teeny tiny piece. I'll put it right over there to save it. All right, so now that's going to fit nice down in there. Keeping this, of course, obviously. And then this, oh, wouldn't it be perfect if it's fit nicely in there? But it doesn't. It's really too short to, you know, you're really going to see it's obvious. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to do the same process. I'm just going to line it up really tight at one end, and then I'm going to use my bone folder. When I did the other one, I just used my fingers, but I thought with these big old fingers of mine, this might be a little bit easier. And then what I'm going to do, again, keeping it in place, I'm just going to crease where that was. Okay. And I'm going to turn it over. It seems to be a lot easier if you turn it over. And I'm going to make that cut. And then this cut. And I'll do that twice. Okay. Now let's just double check it. Yeah. So see, that fits nice in there. Okay. And then I'm going to just use that for my guide. I say that I'm not great at, you know, holding, cutting straight, the whole shebang. Well, let's see. Can I line it up? Okay. We'll see. I guess practice makes perfect, so if I keep doing this, I'll be able to cut a straight line eventually. All right, I'm holding my breath. That's why I'm not talking. I'm holding my breath while I cut that. Okay. So now we have one there and one here. Very sweet. I thought those, all of them, all the papers go well together. You can't go wrong. This is a great way to use up any of your scraps. Now, I'm not concerned if it's a little overboard, you know, if it sticks out a little, because I do have my handy dandy craft emery board, and I'll just shave it off, which I'm going to rough it up a little bit afterwards anyways. Okay, so I can lay these aside. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm trying to think. I think I'll do it at this end. Maybe, oh, it doesn't look like I can get the full thing. So we'll go here. So what I'm doing here is, I don't know if you can see, is I'm just setting that on there because I want to trace it. And I just sharpened my pencils. I think you'll be very impressed. Look at that thing. I know. I don't know if I've ever had a pencil that sharp. I should take a picture of it, but it's on video, so it at least is documented that I have this very sharp pencil. So I'm just going to go around here. I'm tracing it. I am trying to be very precise with the tracing. And then, of course, I'm going to go in the center. All right. And then I'm going to fold close to that line. I'm not going to fold exactly on that line because I'm not good at, again, cutting a very straight line, but I am going to fold fairly close to that line. I'm going to cut this side first so I can release the paper here. Now, again, I'm not super worried. I mean, I would like everything to turn out very nice, but I'm not super worried if there's a little imperfection, because I think that brown's going to help. Plus, I'm going to use my handy dandy art emery board. I call it an art emery board. I got it at Sally's in the nail file area, but I'm going to use that to rough up this little doodad here. I'm going to cut the oval out individually, and I'll show you that this little piece I am going to throw away. I think even my fellow hoarders would appreciate that. Oh my gosh, look how pretty it is. I'm not going to throw it away. Don't think I'm crazy, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it in my personal journal. Oh my gosh, I know I've got it so bad. I've got it bad. Okay. Just squaring things up a little bit. Of course, you know I'm going to keep this one. I'll make something out of that in my journal. Some of these things that I wouldn't put like in a junk journal, I'll put it in my personal journal and make something out of it. So that's what I'll do with those. Okay, I'm going to grab a smaller pair of scissors. These aren't super small. I wish they were smaller. But let me show you from this one. You can see that the oval is not perfect. It's a little rugged. But again, I can use my emery board to help me with that. So if you have not cut circles out before or small areas, the best way to do it is to find somewhat of a center point. This is also how I applique. I'll use the same method with fabric that I'm going to applique. And then what you do is just gently, these scissors are a little bit big, but you know, even if you had smaller ones, gently cut several little pie shapes. Even if this is a square, you would just cut to the corners. What you're doing is you're giving yourself some ease marks. It eases it in. Fabric is the same way. You just ease, it eases the fabric. So I'm just cutting these. Like that. Okay. Then now with fabric, what I would do is I would cut them a lot closer together, and then I would fold them back this way. Like if I'm appliquing, I would fold it back that way, and then I would stitch around that. But this is just paper, and it's going to be glued down, so I'm not going to fold back. I'm going to just, now, I'm going to just easily, this is much easier. I'm just going to go around the oval. And you can see it's so much easier because it's not pulling the paper. You're not fighting against the paper. And it's very similar to sewing in the sense that, like, let's say that I'm using a sewing machine to go around an oval. And I'll show you on this next one. Instead, when you're using a sewing machine, your needle is straight up and down. Here, I'll use this so you can see a little bit better. And so you're manipulating the paper. It's the same with, oh, I forgot to do that hole. It's the same with cutting. Let's do, no, that's not, let's see, is that the one? No, this is one. Let me put this hole in here so it's nice and where it's supposed to be. Okay. All right, let's get that cut out. Poke the hole. Okay. We'll make this, cut these again to ease the paper. This is really great if you don't have like a hole punch, you know, like a large hole punch, and you want to, you know, make something fun. You could double up your papers and do different colors, you know, make your ovals different sizes, your circles, squares, what have you. Okay, so here we go again. All right, so kind of what I was talking about with sewing, where your needle stays put, and as you go around, you're manipulating the fabric, right? Well, it's the same way with the scissors. For the most part, now because I'm having to, you know, go up and down in tiny little pieces, I am going to move this. But for the most part, I'm actually manipulating. I'm keeping my hand still with the scissors, and I'm manipulating and turning with my other hand. And that keeps it nice and smooth as you're doing that. This is a really great method if you're going around any type of curve, or oops, I got a little big there, but any type of curve, or you have to go around very delicate areas. Let's see, how am I doing here? There we go. All right. Okay. Now I'm only going to have time to get one done, so let's finish the one that we just started. I'm going to put my scissors away and get those out of the way. It's later in the afternoon. I don't normally drink coffee this late, but I just felt like I needed it, so I'm going to take a quick sip of coffee. So good. Give myself a little more room. All right. So here's our pieces. And I'm going to bring over, I reuse my paper. This is parchment paper. I get it at the, used to be dollar store, Dollar Tree, whatever. It was $1. Now I think it's $1.25, you know, so, but I still reuse it, you know. Again, anytime you can save money, then that's just more money you can spend on the goodies, you know. And so, plus, I like to see the different projects I've done too. I like to kind of keep an eye on. All right. So this is new for me to try this, but I wanted to try it. So I'm just going to squeeze out some. I don't even know how much. This might be way too much. We'll see. And, uh-oh, my brush is a little stiff. I just washed it out yesterday, but we'll see. I don't remember now what I even used it on. Another thing is, so I'm going to do a heavy coat. Another thing is that this balsa wood or balsa board or whatever this is, very porous. And the reason that the paint didn't turn out the same on everything is because the grain is, you know, they're not trying to make all the grain look really great or anything when they make stuff. They're just making it, you know, inexpensive. And so it didn't look the same on every, and I'm okay with that because I'm trying to make this look a little, kind of a little bit antique-y looking anyways. Okay, now I can feel it already setting up. Feels like it's setting up. So I want to get the corners really good. Okay. Let's set this down in there. There we go. And I'm going to grab this little squeegee guy. I don't have it exactly down in there. This might be the fiddly part of it. I'm just squeegeeing that down a little bit, okay? Just to make sure I don't have any bubbles. Yeah, turned out to sit in there pretty nice. Okay, now let's go around the house here with with this and get these other sides on real quick. Another thing I am going to do is, even though I'm not going to put paper down on these inside handles, and I'm not going to do the walls on the outside, I am going to go ahead and paint over them with this matte gel, because I want it to all look the same. I want it to all have the same, you know, feel and look to it. Whatever that's going to be, I don't know, because I've never done it before. I just wanted to try something a little different than Mod Podge, but depending on how it turns out, excuse me, I may need to, boy, that matte gel has a little bit of a tang to it. I may use Mod Podge on the other one. We'll see. This does dry a lot quicker than I anticipated. So if you get little, you know, goobers like I did, you can see here, definitely want to get those smoothed out. As best as possible before that dries up, you know, kind of clunky. Okay. Yeah, it's not as forgiving as Mod Podge. You know, Mod Podge, you can move things around a little bit for a minute or ish. This is quick, which has its benefits for sure if you're in a hurry or impatient sometimes like me. Okay, let's get that other one down. All right. Okay. Again, I'm just going to do that in the corners here. Okay. Another thing I noticed, you can see there's a little bump there. I'm not concerned with it, but this balsa wood is definitely not perfect. So you will have little imperfections, and I tried to find those ahead of time and sand them, but with my fingernail file, but I can tell I didn't get everything. So here's a little goo that it'll probably dry clear, hopefully, but you can see a little goo there, and I might be able to sand that out with my stuff, with my little emery board. Okay, I'm just going to go around these real quick. Now, after this dries, I will, again, take that emery board to the corners, to all the edges, try to buff it, you know, so that everything lays nice. I had not planned that to wrap around, but I must have cut it just a little bit too long, and I'm not really worried about it. So these are not going to be gifts, which if they were, I would do it a little bit differently. You know, I would be a little bit more cautious. This is my prototype, so to speak, and I have to say, and I'm going to keep it myself, you know, I'm going to use it for things. I do have to say that probably the other one that I'm going to do, I think, we'll see how this turns out, but I think I may use the Mod Podge because this is drying so fast. But I do like how it goes on. But because of the, you know, little clunky parts that I get due to my own anal slop, I just don't feel like that's going to look very smooth, so this little pink thing that I'm using, I also got that at the store where things used to be $1. I think it's $1.25 now. Okay, so you can see that there's a little space there that I missed. I'm not worried about it because here, once this dries, I'm going to buff all that down, and then my plan is to take the vintage photo and go around it to blend everything in. Okay. But we're getting there, aren't we? One thing I like about Kathy's paper is, now you definitely could do this with most papers, I should say. You know, you have a magazine you like, be careful, some of this might make the print run, but magazines, you could do it with scrapbook paper, you could do it with your digital prints. You know, maybe you have an old letter or something, you want to use it, whatever. But the thing I like about Kathy's is that her paper is not super flimsy, and yet it's not really thick like the almost cardstock type of scrapbook paper. That paper, I find, would be a little difficult for a project like this. It's just not as moldable, I would think. Okay, that went on really nice. Okay, so there we are so far. Super cute. Okay. Now, if I was really ambitious, I would do the inside with her paper too, but I really felt like I was stretching myself with this. So now I'm just going to go on the outside of this just so it matches the rest of what I've done. If you're like me, these projects are a little tricky, just in the sense that you don't know where to hold them while things are drying, you know, to get that fourth edge. Okay, and now I just want to tell you, once, well, I guess we could go around it now. I was going to say I was going to let it dry, but there's really no need to let it dry before we go back around. Okay. All right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go in and I'm going to paint this down. Much easier because this paper is all one texture, whereas the balsa board was just lapping it up and, you know, is not the same consistency. So, but this is, that paper is a little bit easier, but I do need some more. Gosh, and I thought I was going to have a lot left over. I would love to know in the comments if you try this. I'd love to know what kind of paper crafts that you've done with the Cathe Holden papers. I would love it. Be sure and use a hashtag Cathe Holden papers, Cathe Holden spellbinders, however you want to do it, but put the Cathe Holden in there. And I'd love to see what you do. Okay, there's that. Smooth out a little bit of this on the sides. Okay. Now we'll do this part. Much easier, I gotta say, once the paper's down. Much easier. Yep. Oh, this is going to be so fun to have these. You know, on some of the projects where I've shown you, I kind of dump the ephemera packs and look through them. Well, I was thinking, wouldn't it be fun if I just dumped them in here and then I could use this as my work bucket, you know, work tray when I'm using those. So that's what gave me the idea to cover these. They had all kinds of little balsa things at the store that used to be $1. I honestly, I don't know what the name of that store is. Like, you know, little boxes and little things. And I just think what a fun project this would be for children, make grandma something, or Mother's Day is coming up. You know, if you have a special mom in your life, or your mom or your grandma or something, you could use this, or help a child, you know, to do something like this. Either this, or like I said, one of those little boxes, or gosh, they have they have little what am I trying to say? Oh, is it every day that I'm not going to be able to remember something? Let's see. They have canvas. Oh my goodness. Little white canvases. And I think you may remember seeing some when I did some of my napkin crafts I was showing you, and I put it on a small canvas. You know, it looked cute. But golly, wouldn't these be beautiful on little canvases? You could make either ornaments, or set them aside, or hang 9 up, you know. Use one of each of the 12 up, one of each out of the tablet of Kathy's. Yeah. Gorgeous. I think of, where would you put something like that? You know, I think of that space that your light switch is on. It's such a little space. And I love to hang little pieces of art in that space. I just think it looks so cool. All right. Let's see. Let me get that little. Because I've never used this before in this fashion, you know, I've used it on canvas and to do different things like that. I'm just not sure what to expect from any of this extra goo that I get clunked around. So we'll see. Before I move on to using it on the larger one, I'm gonna see what happens. I think that turned out really, really pretty. And then this one is going to be, I think, very pretty too. And then this little tray can sit inside of that one. So even if I put things in this, ephemera in that, and ephemera in this, I can still stack them. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out and experimenting with me. And I hope it inspired you to grab some of Kathy's paper and do some very quick and easy crafts with it, you know, and maybe even a gift for someone. Let me know what you do with it, and don't forget to hashtag Cathe Holden, okay? All right, thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Blessings to everyone. Bye-bye.